It is no surprise that I am currently wearing my Jamaican colors, as I am a true fan of the Jamaica men's national team. I am also wearing my soldier cap, as this represents power, courage, and honor that the Reggae Boyz would have to execute against the United States in the semifinals of the Concacaf Nations League. And today, on the 20th of February, I want to have a discussion as to how Jamaica could set up against the United States with existing players. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early lights what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming? This is not a time to sing the national anthem of the United States, but because I am a lover of their, anthem, I am here to speak about Reggae Boyz lineup potentially against the United States with existing players. Potentially because things can turn around, whereas Jamaica could possibly recruit a few players before the big game. Honestly speaking, Jamaica doesn't have a good record against the United States. Jamaica against the United States since 1988 up to the 24th of June 2023. 3 games won, 10 draws, 19 losses. Think about that. Do you believe that Jamaica even have what it takes to even defeat the United States on home soil? But nothing is impossible. I am here to deliver the information as your host, Ryan Nelson, and the logo still exists on Premier 7. And I have a thumb drive. So let's see what the thumb drive have to present to you. Here on Premier 7, I decide to do something unique surrounding the upcoming game between the United States and Jamaica. I am a Reggae Boyz fan, and here I have my own setup as to how the Jamaica men's national team can set up to possibly defeat the United States. And of course, this is my training notes and my match notes relating to the game. And I am going to go into the visual part as well of the tactics that you will see me go about in utilizing the movement of players by way of a visual diagram. Thereafter, the small discussion surrounding the players on the pitch. Now, the training note dictates that practical title is Jamaica men's national football team that will be playing against the United States. And the objective is how Jamaica could line up against USA in the Concacaf Nations League semifinals. With no further explanation or any clarity on what that statement is about, let me go into the description. And the description say that on the 21st of March 2024, Jamaica and the United States will play in the Concacaf Nations League semifinals. Given that Jamaica really and truly have lost far more often than they have won, Jamaica does not have the best record when playing the USA. Because of this, the Americans are in a favorable position, and having the first leg at home would be quite beneficial. Now, here is how Jamaica could line up against USA, but Jamaica, of course, needs to bring their A game because they have been playing better than just basic football in the Concacaf Nations League. Before I go into details or to show you the visual representation as to how Jamaica will line up, well, you can see that it is a 4-4-2 formation. I don't show the movements as yet. I will show you that later on in the video discussion. But of course, in the description mentioned, Jamaica doesn't have a good win record against the United States, and that has to be taken into consideration. For the coaching points though, Coach Al Grimson, since 2023, has been playing, I won't say convincing football to all extent, but Jamaica has been getting results, and results is what really pays off. Yes, we want to see Jamaica winning games more convincingly with more fluent football playing style, but guess what? Jamaica is in the semifinals of the Concacaf Nations League. Now, the coaching points, just to point out, Coach Al Grimson prefers a 4-4-2 formation based on research and occasionally based on the games seen Jamaica played in the Concacaf Nations League. Sometimes he goes for the 4-2-3-1 and also the 4-3-3. The win percentage over the last 7 games is that Coach Al Grimson isn't performing bad. 57.14, winning 4, drawing 2, losing 1. However, the main players for him, based on my understanding and observation, would be Blake, Lowe, Latibodier, Bobby Reed, Leon Bailey, Demar Gray, and Shamar Nicholson. However, some of these players will be absent, and some players aren't good enough based on what I think, and suspension is something that happens as well in the game of football. So the progression for Jamaica to have a chance to beat the United States, Coach Al Grimson should select the 4-4-2 formation. Replacement, remember, Ethan Pinnock picked up an injury. I don't think he will recover fast enough to play against the United States in the first leg in the United States, so I would go for Deshaun Bernard. Latibodier is an average player. I would replace him with Lambert. Not to say that Latibodier will not be in the squad, but to start, I would go for Lambert more than Latibodier. And Demar Gray suspended based on the Canada game. Casey Palmer is the rightful option based on my understanding. Alright, so just to let you know that based on the match notes, the game will be played on the 21st of March, right? The 21st of March on a Thursday at 6 p.m. And the venue will be the AT&T Stadium. Of course, just to point out, I am working with the current team. So I am offering my opinion, and there's no guarantee that Coach Al Grimson will stick with this system. Therefore, if the recruitments of new players such as a Gibbs White, hopefully Henry, and a Mason Greenwood, others is there as well, then the formation and the player selection will be different. Let's turn our attention right now to the tactical board. Alright, so it is action time, and this is it for the Reggae Boyz. The 4-4-2 formation. I can understand that there are advantages and disadvantages of this formation, but not saying that because this is what Coach Al Grimson go for mainly, I wouldn't say that is the reason why I chose it. However, let's jump into details on the players being seen on board. Now, of course, I have to choose Blake as the main man in goal because there's no one else that can replace him at the moment. So, he has the ball in his hand currently, or it seems as if he's fumbling the ball, but it is best if that is the case because I don't want to see this, when the game comes up against the United States. So definitely the man in form, the man for the mission, Mr. Blake, has to be in goal. Now, Lembikisa and Amari Bell, I have to go for these two players because of the fact that not only because they have the experience, but because of what they can bring to Jamaica against the United States. United States is a team that has pace and longevity, and Jamaica will have players on the bench to replace these players if they are out of the gas or they're injured. But because of the fact that these two players are more robust than, I would say, a Lee, right, and a Brown, Lembikisa and Bell would be the two options that I would go for. I don't think Lembikisa has that ability to whip in crosses more than a Brown, really, but defensively, or to have a better balance reading the game, I think that Lembikisa would be the main man. And Lembikisa would be the man to do this. And the same thing for Mr. Amari Bell, right? To bomb forward on the wide width of the field for Jamaica. But guess what? Somebody has to be more defensive out of the two. And I think Amari Bell would be that man to be more defensive. So let's say that Lembikisa join these guys in the midfield as three, holding. Then Low and the Bernard and the Bell would be reliable or relied on to be more defensive, right? So that is what I am speaking about here. Now, of course, you see that Latibodier is on the bench. Latibodier may be called up on within that same first leg game to replace a Lembikisa or a Bell for some more defensive tactics to restrain United States from running behind the back two here in the pivot or the base of the four in the midfield formation. Alright, so I would say that Low would be the man in the back four, apart from right back and the left back, who would go forward more, because he have the ability to make passes through the middle to like an Antonio, making passes through here to a Palmer, making passes through here to a Bailey, and also making passes through here to a Nicholson. And that shows progression. That shows ability to pass the ball through the line. The ball, of course, can be over the top to an Antonio, right? Or over the top to a Nicholson. But when he progresses through the midfield area, let's say he move up to this area, forget about these arrows really, but let me just point them up more, right? I am expecting for Mr. Low to play the ball through line on the ground to these players, because you see, the more the ball goes in the here, you give United States that advantage of defending properly, because Reem that plays for Fulham, that guy isn't a bad player in the here. And of course, that is the importance of Damian Low, having the fact that this man Bernard, I would rely on him to be more of the last man to assist the likes of Blake when the needs comes across. But not to say Bernard will not go forward at times, but more so in the case that Jamaica would be taking a corner, whether it is from this side or that side, courtesy of the assistance from a Casey Palmer, for which I will speak about soon, a Leon Bailey, or even a Bobby Reed, if he should even start. Now in the midfield, I told you that I would go for a Lambert and a Johnson. These two guys, they have chemistry in the midfield. And USA doesn't play whenever it comes on to breaking through the lines of opposition teams. The last game that they played in the Concacaf Nations League was against the Trinidad and Tobago team, and they beat them 3-0. You know, man like Pepe, Robinson, and Reina are those men who were on the score sheet. And USA, to me, will more so go for a 4-2-3-1 formation against Jamaica. That is the reason why the 4-2-2 formation for me, selecting here for Jamaica, is more than likely the best option, because this area right here in the midfield, USA will want to dominate Jamaica, right? And when you have Lambert and a Johnson, you know, Palmer defensively, he will come back at times, of course, because that will be required. Then you know that if that midfield isn't packed up with players of quality to prevent the United States from going through the midfield area, then Jamaica will be in trouble, because Musa, McKennie, Paredes, Reina will be that sort of player who will want to go through Jamaica midfield area, with men like Dest and Robinson bombarding the wider end of the pitch. So, of course, that is the reason why I choose a Lambert to play in the midfield. However, Johnson in the midfield is a case of creativity. He holds onto the ball quite well, based on the Jamaican system, collecting the ball from the back, from a Blake or anyone in the back line like a Bernard or a Lowe. Of course, going forward with some progressive pressing, of course, you know, man like this man Lambert would basically back up, sitting deeper, allowing for Johnson to become a partner in crime with Bailey, and Palmer, who would more so go forward, supporting the formation of progressive football, assisting Nicholson and Antonio, who would have a chance to score goals. Not because Bailey is selected in the team, I selected Bailey for assisting and of course goal scoring, but mainly the fact that Nicholson and Antonio will be necessary in the front two to attack the defense of the United States with physicality. You know, they can give trouble Tartar, Ream, Dest, and Robinson whenever it comes on to progressing to score a goal. Now, Casey Palmer, remember now that Demarai Gray is not available. So, I think Palmer would be the person who would be the proper fit to go forward here, right? With the runs that he have, and because he is right-footed, it may be somewhat of a tactical genius by Al Grimson if he wants for this man to connect with a Antonio who may drift wide. Palmer come to the middle and he supply him with the ball here to score. That could be the reason why he is playing on the left position. But if we should switch Casey Palmer with a Leon Bailey, then the supplication of crosses in the box from a Leon Bailey could be more useful, right? Will be more useful because Nicholson would be in the box, Antonio possibly could be in the box as well, Bailey on that end, you know, running on the flanks, but mainly to whip the cross in to Nicholson, whip the cross in to Antonio, right? And goals galore. Goals galore. Not saying that Jamaica will score a lot of goals against the United States, but just showing you if Al Gibson decides to switch a Casey Palmer with a Bailey in that case. But, you know, the reason why I chose Casey Palmer on that end is because of the possible replacement that he will be for Demarai Gray, who plays quite well on the left. And I think Casey Palmer can do a job like this and providing that balance between himself and Amari Bell. Right? Now to Leon Bailey, I have to put him in action because Leon Bailey is that dribbler. I think he's the best dribbler in the Jamaica lineup. And when Bailey is available, to play in the midfield 4, but playing more progressive alongside Palmer and Antonio and Nicholson with no substitution in place to start the game, Bailey will be the man who likes to drift in. He likes to drift in, right? That is Leon Bailey's style of play. He likes to drift in this direction. So that now will create the space where Nicholson would go to his right, and Antonio may go here because Bailey drifting in with the ball can supply an Antonio who can score, himself who is good with the curlers. You know, this is how he can score his goal around the keeper, right? And get his own goals. You saw Leon Bailey doing so in the Premier League against big teams. So I won't say Leon Bailey is playing on this end because of the defensive ability that he may supply or needs to supply to Jamaica, but because of the goal ability that Jamaica needs to kick the thing off against the United States. If you don't want for Bailey to start in that case, then you may possibly use a Bobby Reed in his place right here, right, as a substitute. Now Nicholson and Antonio coming down. These two guys are muscular, especially Antonio. We need the goals early as possible against the United States. Nicholson played well against Canada. Antonio is a good goal scorer for West Ham. Not seen him delivering as yet in the Jamaican colours, but you have to start Mikel Antonio because he is that man who holds onto the ball quite well in this area, right? In this area, you expect for him to hold onto the ball quite well. And sometimes he will drift to that side, holding onto the ball as well, very strong. And he will give United States backline issue. If not him, then Nicholson would be that man to give the trouble, because even Robinson is good defensively with his physicality. Dest is that man who likes to go forward. Dest likes to go forward from here, or depending on where he plays, he will have some trouble when he's going to defend against an Antonio or a Nicholson. And the similar thing, speaking about Nicholson or an Antonio, it shows for justice that these two guys in Jamaica front two of the 4-4-2 formation have that ability to score goals and creating that physical dominance against the United States backline. Alright, so what is your say though in regards to the videos? It is now my time to go, and you know what to do already. Let me know what you think. So take care and goodbye for now.